two controllers for this, as was previously explained. If one of you can change the title on the Twitch channel, that would be great. So this will be a Yoshi's Woolly World run. Now even though it's a Wii U game, we won't be using the gamepad at all for the run. We'll be using the Wii remote for the entirety of the run. We'll also be running on file 1 here, because file 1, when doing 2-player strats, is actually the quickest file, because of a particular trick you can do on the final level, but can only be done on file 1, and I'll explain that when we get there. So we'll be playing classic mode. Mellow mode won't be used at all, because it's a 9% classic run. There'll be 2 controls used as was explained. Not first, so that's just to set that controller up. So I think we're just about ready. So 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Yoshi's Woolly World. We immediately skip that and go straight into World 1, and we're going into 1-1. Now the game's, as if none of you actually know what it's about, it's just a game in the style of Yoshi's Island, except it's all made out of wool or yarn or whatever you want to call it. And it's actually a lot more of an interesting speed game than you might imagine it being. There's a lot more technical skips to it than might be first anticipated when looking at it originally. I picked this game up on launch and did some casual playthrough, and from casual playthrough and then going into trying some speedruns for it, I actually thought that this might have some interesting things to it, and there's actually a lot to this game that you might not initially expect. So the first trick here, you'll be bouncing on there and hovering up onto here, and hoping he'd go the right way. Unfortunately he didn't, but we worked it out. You'll be jumping on top of that egg box, and then hovering along here, and it saves you activating 2 flowers, one to go down and one to go up, to get you to the end of the level, and this is the end of the level. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of explaining it. It's Kirby's Epic Yarn with Yoshi. So that's the first level. It wasn't a bad first level actually at all. So that's 1-1. The first few levels in the game, there's not a lot to say about them. There's a couple of little tricks here and there which I might point out as we get to them, but there's not a lot to say about these levels as a whole. You'll be skipping all the transitions to levels. You won't actually see the 2-player strats that use a second controller until we get into World 3. There is one level beforehand where you could use 2-player strats to speed things up, but the strat's very precise, and at the current moment it's too difficult for me to do. I've just realised as well that you notice that the Miiverse posts are coming on the screen. That's because since I've been just playing Wii U casually since doing my run yesterday, the internet is left on this console, which actually does make this run a little bit slow because it extends the load time a tiny bit. Not having an internet connection and being on a separate user, which none of which I am on because this was sort of a bit last minute, actually speeds up load times because it's not trying to search for Miiverse posts. This is the first transformation of the game. I'm going to be turning into an umbrella, because why the hell not? The transformations are mainly quite basic, but they're all quite interesting still. So, not too bad. Just a little bit of route optimization by cutting along there. You don't have to go follow the gems, and you can fit along there without hitting the Shy Guys, so it's a tiny bit quicker. So we're going along here and going into there. Now you notice I jumped over that. I'll be doing that a lot in some levels. Some levels I won't because it's too risky, but it just means you don't have to have the pause where you're activating the checkpoint. And you notice the ground pound gives me a little bit of extra height when jumping. A lot of these are just minor optimization so far. The more interesting tricks come later on. I mean, one of them, which I'll explain now because it might be difficult to notice on the stream, is a trick called egg boosting. What egg boosting does is that if you hover with Yoshi up to a certain height and then go down and fire eggs, by firing the eggs you will actually gain a little bit of height up until the maximum height of your hover originally, and this is used in a couple of places to do some pretty big skips, especially in 6-3, but we're quite a way off that yet. The reason we use the Wii remote for this game instead of a gamepad, for example, is because the Wii remote allows you to tilt the controller to aim the egg, and this is slightly quicker than just letting the cursor auto aim for you, because you can immediately turn it into the position that you want it to be, and it just allows for some quicker egg aiming in general. This section's really annoying in this level. Don't like this level, because you've got to fire all these eggs, but you can see that egg was immediately in the position I needed it to be. Fire eggs to get through all the foam. And it can just be a little bit awkward, because sometimes you think you've aimed everything fine and then it's like, no. It's actually probably one of the more awkward, not difficult per se, but awkward levels in World 1. Because things are pretty easy at the start for the most part. So we'll push along here. We'll go along. I'm taking this just as an extra egg because I think I might need it for this part. Don't want to be in there. I'll be firing the egg up here and using this to activate the trampoline to get out of this and to the end of the level. Again, the early levels, there's not a lot to them, so you can't run with an egg in your hand, but you can move with an egg in your hand in the air. That's the only thing. It is a slower game than, say, Yoshi's Island, but it also has a couple of more decent tricks which you wouldn't necessarily find in Yoshi's Island. Especially through the use of badges. Not many use at the start. And these badges you have to pay for with gems that you collect through the levels. There's not really much to use them on. You don't want to use them early on because they're some that you are required to use because they save so much time later on. Mainly the pit badge. And you'll see how some of these badges, while designed for people who are less skilled at the game to help them complete the level, also are very easily exploited. You can get free badges as well, which I'll be hoping to get quite a few free badges, but to get free badges it's complete RNG. And what this means is that you can get any badge and you won't have to pay for it. Oh dear. Oh dear, I didn't get the checkpoint either. Okay, that's a very silly mistake to make. What I was supposed to do was hover underneath that and then go into the next platform, but it seems that I missed the platform. That's a really silly mistake to make, actually. But luckily it doesn't cost too much time. The estimate I've made is very conservative. See, that's what I was supposed to do, and then you go along here. This is one of the little skips of the game. You will jump onto this Shy Guy to get onto this egg box, and then hover along like this until you get to this. This partly uses the egg boosting to swallow that, and then you can get up onto here, follow that, and you're at the end of the level instead of going the intended route. I'm skipping that one again, which Again, I should have probably learnt my mistake from the first one not to skip it, but oh well, it's very difficult to mess up this boss. So I should be okay. I'm going to take a bit of a hit there, deliberately, because it really makes these cycles quite nice. So I can immediately just get through. And now we're at the first boss. This boss is a giant, like, beaver, or badger? No, beaver, I think it is. And there's not much to it, so you just got to do 3 hits on it. The bosses get a bit more interesting later on. You just jump on them and then ground pound on their backside. Now I'll come behind them because I'll be wanting to do a hit like that. And that's quicker because initially they would throw the thing and then I wouldn't be able to hit them. I always seem to miss that 3rd hit. I don't know why. So I never get the 3rd quick hit, but then there we go. That's the boss defeated. You notice I moved to the middle afterwards, and the reason I moved to the middle is because then Yoshi has to do less movement afterwards, and you have to collect all the gems to actually activate that final thing, or wait for them to disappear, which obviously you don't want to do. Right. Oh, this is a really nice freebie to get. Because again, the freebies are RNG, but this will actually show up the pit badge, which you'll get to see more later on. Oh, hi Josh. You'll get to see this more later on. But this pit badge is one of those that is supposed to help you, but it's actually really useful for speeding up levels. Because, look, I can just do this. Oh dear, I'm going to die. But wait, I didn't. So I can just jump on the ground like this and just bounce crazy high from it, and it allows me to just do some pretty interesting. It saves time because I don't have to activate the windmills. You won't have enough money at the time to do this normally, and actually I need another egg, so I don't know what I'm doing. So there we go. I forgot that I needed some eggs there. But yeah, you essentially just bounce on the ground, because what it does is it puts a trampoline on the death trigger, so that when you're about to die, it just bounces you straight up. So you don't have to worry about these bottomless pits. It makes things. I've never actually got a freebie badge on this level. But it's really useful to get on this level. The reason that the badges such as the pit badge became to be used in speedruns, because they weren't initially even considered. None of the badges apart from a speed badge, which increases your movement speed, which you collect at the end after defeating the 4-4 boss, were even considered for speedruns, until one time in my chat there was a Twitch user called Scavvy, and there was a couple of the other runners of this game in at the time, and they were talking about, and he mentioned how he used the pit badge, he fell to the ground and would be able to bounce all the way up to the height of the screen. So we decided to try it in a couple of levels, and it made some of these levels far quicker. It helped us do some skips even quicker than they were already, and it just helped speed things up a lot. And wow, I'm getting some really good luck with free badges. Big yarn balls. The reason why big yarn balls are always useful is because when you hit an egg box, you'll get 6 eggs automatically, which is just a nice little thing because you don't have to hit the box 6 times. It's not really useful in this level, and if I didn't get a freebie, I wouldn't be using one. You wouldn't use one early on anyway, despite how much time you saw that the one in 5-6 saved. I mean, in 1-1-5 even. I don't know why I'm saying 5-6. But despite how much time that saved, you don't have enough money for it otherwise. So you wouldn't use it in a normal run unless you got a freebie. But freebies are complete RNG, so to get 2 in the first 6 levels is actually really lucky. It also means I probably won't get them on the levels where I actually have to use badges. Which, while it's nice getting them on levels like this where you don't have to, it's better to get them on the levels which you do have to, because it saves you money that you were initially going to spend. But yeah, this bit you turn into Mega Yoshi, or a giant version of Yoshi, and you just destroy everything in your path like a giant Godzilla. And it's pretty cool. All the transformations are pretty cool for the most part. Yes, I would recommend to follow me, I'm pretty cool. Matto will have linked my Twitch page. And yeah, but I'd like to think I'm cool, but probably not, you know. Now I take this bomb here, so I can destroy that so I can get along, and then I take this one here and just destroy that, and then this is the end of the level. You don't see those bombs again, unfortunately, at any point. I am biased. Of course I'm gonna think I'm cool, even though I know I'm not. I'd like to remind people that this is a charity marathon for Doctors Without Borders, so if you're enjoying this, then I would recommend you go and donate to them at the donation page, which is linked in the chat right now, and it's also linked below the stream as well, if you're on the Twitch page directly. And it's a good charity, so I'd recommend that you donate to help us. We've got a couple of donation incentives towards some extra games. We've got a donation incentive towards what tunic will be used in the 100% race of Link's Awakening DX. Currently blue tunic is winning, but I would personally say that you should all give some money to red tunic, because red's a better colour. And I think that's everything. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Oh yeah, there's a donation incentive for what donation wall for what game will be run tomorrow by Cosmic the Dolphin. He is doing either Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine or Kirby's Avalanche. Both are similar games. It's essentially, do you like Nintendo or Sega more? But it's whichever you donate to, whichever gets the most will be the game that's ran at the moment. I think it's even at $10 a piece for each game. So if you want to break that deadlock, then I would recommend that you go and donate to that right now. And donate to Dr. Robotnik probably, is what I'd say. But you can make your own choice. There's not a lot to say about this level. This is another one of the transformations. You'll be using the bike. And this is a level where you would actually be grinding for gems if you were doing the normal any percent. But the normal any percent is a really bad category. I might do a run of it for a joke. A couple of other runners have. And I might just join them. Essentially, you just get to 1-7 like normal. Grind that level for close to an hour. Well, about 40 minutes. To get about 80,000 gems. Then skip every single level from there to the end of the game. The thing is, I'm not even a Sega fanboy. I just think that Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine is better. Well, McPherson, you only just woke up. Hey dear, what are we gonna do? I've barely slept yet. You should do it my way. Stay awake for it all. But yeah, now we're going to go into the final level of World 1, which you might recognize this boss from Yoshi's Island. There's actually a lot of things from this game that seem to be almost taken directly out of Yoshi's Island. Maybe it references Yoshi's Island and takes ideas from it a bit too much at times, but it's still a good game regardless of that. So this level see, you recognise these. It's Bird the Bashful again. Same with what was 1-4 on Yoshi's Island. We need to enter this door here, but we can't. We need to get the key, so we're going to go along here to collect the key. One thing I like about this game is that you might have noticed that if you jump on something or you swallow something, they're all made out of yarn, so it actually makes like a little, almost like an unraveling when you try and swallow anything, and it's pretty cool. Even just visually, never mind the way it works into the gameplay, which at times works in quite clever ways. I should have probably added that I'm using 2 controllers to the stream, because 2 controllers changes the route quite a bit compared to what a normal 1 controller run would do. So that's something to consider. You won't see much difference until we get into World 3, as I mentioned, but the route actually does diverge on how you do some levels quite a bit because of it. This game is a lot of fun. I recommend it. Of course, if you're in America, you'll have to wait until it actually comes out for you to get it, but right. You essentially got to eat him and then unravel his shirt, unlike before where you would just hit him. Got to unravel him. You can only unravel him once his feet have touched the ground, so there I was a little bit early. I started trying to tongue him before I actually touched the ground. Oh, come on. You're joking. That's never happened before. I don't even know how that worked. Oh, hello. I hit him twice. Okay, that was a very weird fight. That's never happened before, but hey ho. And that's the end of World 1. There's 6 worlds in the game, so there's quite a lot of variety throughout. And to really, each world changed quite a bit, because this world's more of a desert theme, and you've got some really interesting levels in it. I'd say it's a more interesting world than World 1. The game builds up. I'll admit, in World 4 it dips a bit, because it's got quite a few auto-scrollers, but it's still quite interesting. I'll switch worlds through the menus, because it's quicker than doing it through the actual map itself. And now we're going into 1. You mean wait till we never play as Poochie, Josh? There's twice that you use skips on Poochie, so you don't have to play as him. I'm gonna collect some eggs here because I'll need some for the level. I took a bit more than I needed just to be safe, because this level is a bit risky if you don't take enough eggs, because you got to backtrack for them and stuff, and it wastes time. And I'd rather just take extra for a marathon than spend less time getting them and be screwed over. The egg aiming when using the Wii remote, which is what we're using at the moment, is done by just tilting the controller. So I already had the controller tilted in the right position, so as soon as I aimed that egg, it was already in the right position just to hit him. It's one of the advantages of using. Oh dear, that egg aiming was terrible though. Come on. That was disgraceful actually. But hey ho, it's been a long day. Right, there we go. And now we enter this door. If only Poochie had an amiibo. Now here, I'm going to need extra eggs, but the intention is to kill this piranha, but by aiming an egg like that, and then hitting that, and hovering in the right way, you don't have to hit him at all, and it saves a little bit of time. This final section's not too bad. I'm going to take a couple of eggs. It's just a case of just making sure these guys get out the way. Oh dear. I thought I jumped into him after hitting him. I know I was, Josh. I wasn't doing that well then. Got something stuck in my teeth. Ah. Jack of Hearts, this was explained at the start. Unfortunately, the runner who we had for the game has had to cancel, so in its place we're doing this plus another game. I forgot to use a badge as well. There it's just best to use not pit badge, big yarn balls to get the extra eggs. Oh, it's not much of a time loss, so it's not the end of the world. Other levels, I have, when I've got a free badge on a level where I have to use a badge, not taking a badge, so I've had to pay for it still. And that is quite painful. Right. This is probably the riskiest transformation because we skip a couple of clocks, so we just collect this one instead, so we don't have to go out of our way to get too many. We only actually collect that one in the entire level. Excuse me. There we go. Alright. There we go. I just did that hover there to create those platforms as it was a little bit quicker, and then just firing the egg. And this is the end of the level. Well, speaking of technical problems, luckily it happened a couple of days before, so I was able to work around it. But I broke my laptop just before doing this marathon. So, yeah, this is the first level where you'd be using 2 players, but I am not consistent enough with this strat to do it in a marathon. There's a switch you can skip in the middle if you use 2 players here, by using the second player to do it, but the way you have to use him to activate the switch is really awkward, so... Yeah, as much as I hate to admit it, because I'm usually quite calm when playing games, the whole reason that I managed to break it was because I got angry while speedrunning, losing a PB on a run which was quite good, and accidentally hit my laptop. Rodea is a game that I would definitely recommend picking up, though. I wasn't able to show it off fully because I did mess up on the end, but when you don't mess it up, it's not the easiest of bosses right at the end, but I've been grinding it, so it was just marathon luck, or just bad play that I messed it up. But yeah, you use the second player to activate this switch instead of having to drag that him along there. But now here you've got to activate 2 more switches with these chomps, which you've got to hit with the eggs to activate. So I'll do that now. Push him along. Get another egg for the next part, and now I've got to push him along here. I can unravel them to turn them into normal chomps again, and then spit them back out to turn them again back into the balls. It was actually this level which helped us find a lot of the 2-player strat. We knew about this one from the launch, but since it was so minor and so difficult, no one really considered any more to it. But when I was testing some 2-player strats in some different levels, and in this one, I realised that using a second player alongside these chomp balls was actually really awkward and could actually cause you to clip through them, and I wondered if there was a way to actually take advantage of this in 2.4, where there's something we really want to clip through, a gate where the key is. And it was from there we ended up researching a lot of other levels where 2 players might be useful, and found that actually 2 players was a good 10 minutes faster. Oh, the categories for this game. Yeah, actually, why am I getting eggs? I don't need them. The categories have been sorted now a bit more, but we are like, this game's incredibly hard to categorize for runs due to the fact that you've got a normal any percent, which is the fastest route to do the level, but that involves going in mellow mode and grinding gems, and it's really not that interesting. So on the first day we created any percent classic, where you just use the classic mode to do it, and that's the way you go through the level. No badge here. But yeah, what was I even saying? Ah, man. But yeah, you've got that. Then you've got no badges, where you do the classic but without badges, and as you saw in 1.5, badges can be pretty broken. By doing that, by you actually using badges. But other than that, then there's of course this normal 100%, but no one's done a run of 100% yet. So there's a couple of people doing 100% ILs of levels, but no one's actually done a full run yet. I might try one sometime, but it's not that nice, I'll be honest. Oh dear. Not because it's not that nice, but because there's so much to 100%. Because as well as having to collect all like the stamp coins and the flowers, you've got to collect all these little yarn, like these little yarn wool balls, And by collecting all of them, you can actually get a special skin for Yoshi. I'll move that out the way. And you've got to get that in every single level. So there's a lot to collect, and you've got the bonus levels to do, and 100% those. So there's a lot for that run, and it'll be therefore very long to actually do a run of. I'm just doing this for some stars for the next section. Surely you knew this game's existence, Orlax. Right, we're going into the next boss now. The next level will be the first time we're actually using the egg boosting, which I mentioned at the beginning of the run, to do a skip. It's quite a small skip, and it's actually one that not just me but a lot of people ended up accidentally doing casually because it seems so obvious. And egg boosting is something that I even noticed being able to do while running the game casually, just playing doing casual playthrough of the game. This boss just requires unraveling his head 3 times after he comes to the ground. It's not that difficult. The bosses get more difficult as you go on, as you do refights where they are a lot more challenging than the last time. So I'll let him ground pound on me. Take his head. Ground pound, and there we go. That's the end of the boss. Because 2-5, the first level where you get to see Poochie. But not that you really get to see him for that long, because we skip him. Alright, thanks for good luck, and see ya. You know what I mean, Jack of Hearts. Come on. You know what I mean. I guess a better way to say it is to get more interesting. And there's more to them. And some interesting ways to speed them up as well. Now this is Poochie. You might recognize him for being a pain in Yoshi's Island. We don't use him really. Because you don't need him for this part, because you can hover there. Now that's not really a skip. This bit here though, what you do is you're using the egg boosting. Like I'll hover up here and then hover down. Hover along here. And then I'll throw eggs seemingly randomly, and it gives me extra height because my hover peaked at a different point. And as you saw, I gained height with every egg throw. So, it helped me actually get to a higher point. Oh dear. That was a thing that happened. So far, I've not died on some actually bits that you would possibly get away with from dying. Because they're not the easiest parts, even though you're not really going to die on them either. And then on 2 really easy bits in this run so far, I've just killed myself. And that's the other time you see Poochie, but again, you're not going to use them. Skype's not open for me, Matto. So I don't know where the Skype notification's coming from. And now you get a Poochie badge, so you can actually use Poochie at any level, but you don't really want to use him at any level. It's a shame I've got no more free badges since the start, because free badges are useful here. The lava badge. That you can use to bounce on the lava, which you get after 2-4. Oh dear, I wasn't supposed to do that, but I've damage boost through, so I got away with it, I guess you could say. There's not a lot to this level. There's all these lava bits which you have to wait for, so it's a bit of a dull level, to be honest. I'll wait here. I'll have to wait here as well. That's quicker than going all the way around, and you don't really need the gems, so doesn't matter. And now we'll go to the final section of the level, which there's not a lot to say about it, so I'm just gonna run through. That means you can avoid the lava things that come along there. And there we go. Now these next two levels are quite interesting. 2A more so if I get the free badge, which I'll explain that when I get there. But this next level, 2-7, is a really long maze level. You've got to collect 4 keys to activate a door. And once you activate this door, you go through, and then there's another bit of the level. But you've actually got to collect all these 4 keys, and so of course the quickest way to get it is actually to go to get all 4 keys at once, and then go through them, go into the door, instead of trying to activate the door bit by bit. There's one level, again I keep on referencing Yoshi's Island when explaining things, but that's because a lot of it is similar to it. There is a game like that, which a level like that in Yoshi's Island, but I can't remember which level it is exactly. I want to activate that because that brings it down this to reveal the level, and you can see the door with 4 keys on. I went in this side for a change simply because I was there. I want to do this side first. I always do. I don't think it's actually quicker. I don't think it's quicker or slower to do either side first. For this, you just got to wait until he gets here. And then you can take the fire. This level is designed around fire puzzles, so you've got to activate all the light switches to collect the keys in each room. You go for the top one first, because then you can just hover down to get to this one. And then you're able to get another key in here. I'll take the hit there. You can hit all three at once if you take the hit there. Yes, you've got an animal made of wool shooting fire out of its mouth and doesn't die when hit by fire. Or doesn't burn. Probably the better way to put it. It makes no sense. Also able to go in water without getting really soggy. That was some really good movement there to get to this key. Oh, I wasn't meant to take a hit there, so I'll get some stars coming out of here. Or hearts, whatever they're supposed to be in this level. In this game. I think they're supposed to be hearts. But you know what I mean when I say that. Right, there we go. Take the key, and then now we've got all 4 keys. We can go to the next section. Ooh, that was close. That would have actually been a huge time loss. Because I would have had to get all 4 keys again. So it's a really good thing I recovered that. I'll take a safety checkpoint here, even though I'm very unlikely to die unless I do something stupid. Which is probably the reason why I definitely should take it. We'll activate this door, which is what we need to go through. And then you just got an auto-scrolling section. You can't speed it up, but you can collect a lot of gems here. And as I've explained, using badges in this game requires paying for gems. So it's the quickest way to do this. Or not the quickest, I mean it's the most useful way to do this because you can collect gems along the way. It's just useful to collect the gems simply so you've got them for later on. Unfortunately, this section is also really dull. So, yeah. I can't see the tracker at the moment, so I can't tell if there's been another donation, but I would like to use this moment to remind everyone now that this is the charity marathon for Doctors Without Borders, and if you're enjoying this, then I would recommend that you go and give them a bit of money by donating with the donation link, which I think Matto could helpfully link to you right now if he is available to. It's also linked in the bio and the Twitch below. We've got some quite nice donation incentives, such as which game out of Kirby's Avalanche and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine to play in Cosmic's Run tomorrow. Both are about the same length, and currently there are $10 a piece. There is also a bid war to choose red or blue tunic for Link's Awakening DX 100%. I'd definitely say to go for the red tunic, but that's personal opinion. Unfortunately, I didn't get a lava badge here. But yeah, my loads are a little slow because of the fact I've got Miiverse on. But no, the reason this level would be good if I had the lava badge, because you get to see how overpowered some of the badges are. Having lava badge on it on this level means that you literally cannot die. All these enemies are made out of fire and lava, and the ground's of lava. So if you took a hit on anything, you wouldn't take any damage. The only thing you could take damage on the Shy Guys, but it's very unlikely you'd be hit enough to die from just that. On the boss, for example, you actually can't die at all, because the boss is made out of fire and he only shoots fire, and you can't take damage from anything he throws at you. I've got these eggs because you can fire the eggs at these guys to stop them firing things and to be able to actually touch them. The dogs are introduced in this level, and this is what the boss of this level is based upon. But interestingly, even though these are shooting fire per se, you can eat this fire per se as well. I'll take these stars for marathon safety, just to make sure I don't die. I shouldn't anyway, but just to be safe. So yeah, this boss, you just gotta hit him 3 times when he turns his head to a slightly paler shade, and then grab part of his tongue. If I had the fire/lava badge here, I could show you. Like, you could literally just stand still like this, and the fire would just brush past you and you wouldn't get damaged at all. I don't know why I was trying to fire an egg there. Luckily I can get some eggs during this for the 3rd hit, so it's okay. Let's do the 2nd hit here. There's not a lot to say about this part, other than you just got to make sure you pay attention to not get hit. He'll fire some blue fire along to you now, but you can actually swallow this, and then use that to hit him there, and that's the boss defeated. Where am I from? I'm from the UK. I'm a British man. But yeah, that's World 2 done. Now World 3 is where things get more interesting again, and it's beginning to where you start to see the 2-player strats that I used throughout the run. I think I'm getting a cold. So let's switch to World 3. You won't see it in this level, but you'll see it in the next level. So I'll reconnect that controller now. This takes some inspiration from Yoshi's Cookie. The reason I take that from him at the start is because that's the only thing you need throughout the level. And you do that to activate this here, and then stand on there, and now you don't need an egg for the entire level. You can just continue along. I shouldn't probably dodge as many of these as I am. I'll take this next one. Because it is slightly risky every time you miss one, because even though it saves 2 seconds, then it still actually costs time if you make a mistake. A lot more. This level is incredibly easy, even though it's cool. Because that's the end of it, believe it or not. Now the reason I use a second controller on this level is to gain some extra height in some circumstances and throw the Yoshi into some new other places where he would be used. And you can use it to skip waiting in some sections and just save a bit of time overall. So I'll go in here and click co-op start. I'll make sure that's on hasty. Go. So I now have my second Wiimote here. I'll be switching between the two if I switch Yoshi's. It makes things a lot more technical. Hey, at least having Miiverse on makes things a bit more interesting. So there, I've switched to the other controller now. And my player 1 is in the egg. Because he died there when I threw that up, because I threw him too far up. Now I want to take this and I'll throw you up there. And then I go along here, I'll send you into that. And then I just get up here a little quicker. Except I messed that up, so it ended up being irrelevant. How if I don't mess up the easiest jump in the game? Come on. It's one you do anyway because you need the extra height there. At this point I'll take him and I'll bring him in my mouth because I will need him in a sec. I'll swallow him to make him into an egg, which is another quite cool thing about this. You can turn the Yoshi into eggs and throw them. It also makes it easier for carrying them between areas. Going up here is slightly quicker than going the other way. Not by much, but you know. I take him for this section here because it means that once you get here you can just go like that, come along here, and you're at the end of the level. That's just an example of the two-player strats. It actually saves a lot more time in other levels later on in the run. You're getting quite quick to have to switch between each controller at the same, because you've got both controllers working at the same time to actually be able to do that. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. This next level will be going back to solo though. If you get a freebie, there is a really technical thing you can do with 2 players to save a bit of time, but it's not worth going for the most part. Having pit badge on here is useful, but not as useful in others, surprisingly, even though you might expect it to be. As you might guess, because this game's quite new in Europe and not out in America, this game is still not completely optimized, and there is more optimizations that can be done. There are some things we feel need to be looked into with some of the badges still. that haven't been discovered yet. And 2-player strats especially, because 2-player strats are less than a week old. So you're actually seeing some really recent strats. Of course the whole game's recent, but at the same time, like, the game's been out for a good 3 to 4 weeks at this point. And these strats are less than a week old. So we just bounce on these because it's quicker than just going along on these all the same. And that's the end of the level. I actually quite like that level because it's quite interesting to have to do all of these small optimizations, jumping along them, and then jumping on the enemies instead, and a couple of nice little tricks in there. I can't explain every single little optimization that there is, and not all of them are entirely obvious. Right, now we're going on to the next boss one. This is actually a really awkward level, but the boss isn't too bad. Because there's all these bubbles that are in the way, and you can't pop these bubbles. So then they could just push you aside and it can get quite finicky. So this actually requires a bit of concentration to make sure you don't accidentally hit something that you don't want to. You can see how the bubbles get in the way there. These are actually quite useful because you can, if they pop at the right time, because I think they pop based on where you are. If you pop them at the right time, you can actually just use them to get up that area a little quicker. And that means you can hit the right cycles for this part. And now I have not hit the right cycles for this part. Now it makes this part a lot more difficult because I don't know these cycles too well. Though actually that's not too bad. Oh, I thought it was at the door for some reason. Taking that because there's no point risking some strats here which aren't worth going for. Like, well, worth risking, but not worth risking dying. Bearing in mind it's a marathon. I'd be skipping a lot more checkpoints, and I'd also have made sure that I didn't have the internet on for doing this run. If I wasn't in a marathon setting. But it's best not to risk it. In this instance. You might recognise this guy. It's just the same boss as before, except now you've got to throw him with an egg instead of jumping on his head. Because he's got a hard hat to protect him, so our plan has been foiled. And there we go. With that, the fight's done. And we're going into the second part of World 3. You know, now I think about it, I've not received a free badge since World 1. So while I had some really good luck at the start, I've not got that luck anymore, which is not great. Bear in mind, when we get into World 4, when we'll start having the badges which are required use. Oh yeah, in this level, it's quite morbid if you think about it properly. You are killing these baby chicks' mothers to take their babies to throw them around like toys. Oh dear. I threw that egg too early, so it disorientated me. Just doing this for a couple of extra gems along the way. Oh man. There we go. I didn't throw those too well. I go for some risky egg shots compared to people because in the way that I always just have the controller ready aimed, so I just throw them straight away. Which sometimes ends up working in my favour, other times it doesn't. I should probably consider waiting a little longer at times before throwing, but there we go. That was close. Messed that up a little bit. Right. There's not a lot to say about that level though after you get past the start and actually think about it. Oh, speaking of free badges. Too bad in this level it's not useful at all, but you don't even use eggs, so it's not even like I could say I need it for the eggs. So it's not worth wasting time going through the menu. I don't know why I was messing up those ground pounds there. There we go. See, once you know the route for this level becomes really short. Because this is one of those levels where the challenge doesn't come from actually the platforming, but just working out where you need to go. Unfortunately, those levels end up being the more frustrating ones on your casual playthrough, and then the easiest in your speedruns, so they're not good in either context, which is a shame. Man, why did I do that? Why did I do the ground pound on that post? Just waste a bit of time there. Right, along we go here. Now this is the key that we need. So we come back along, and I accidentally went down there. So I'm wasting a bit of time on this level, because this level is really easy. And you just come along here. Then we come up, and coming through this door, this leads to the end of the level. Got a giant one of these, which will throw you up now. And there we go. There's not a lot to that, to be honest. Get your cup of pride that they're ready here. This level's full of rainbows and happiness. It's a pretty cool level actually. Again, not too, but the 3-8 boss is a level where you actually have to use a badge. The next level. Because of how much time you save on the boss level. Using a badge. Mainly through the second section of it. Good transformation here. We turn into a plane. Now I'll warn in advance now. None of us know why this happens. While there is less, believe it or not, there's less lag on this bit when you got the gamepad on, but there's still noticeable lag going through this. And by that I mean you can see frame rate drops. And there are like inputs to drop while doing this. And I have no idea why, and no one does. It's just this was really badly programmed. It's the same in a couple of other areas, such as the one in I'm trying to think of the level. 4-6. I'll show you that one in a bit when we get there. We'll be able to notice the lag there as well. It just lags and none of us know why. And there we go. We started to use the 2-player strats that I mentioned at the beginning a lot more when you get towards the end. But we use we have to use a pit badge here, which is a shame that I didn't get a free badge on this level. I'm actually quite good at, like, I'm not, you can't say quite good at something that's completely random, but I always seem to get free badges on this level. But yeah, this is what happens. You can just use the just use the pit badge to bounce through that bit. But it's the final section of this level where you get to actually see how much of an advantage this pit badge has in this level. Because while it saves time, yes, it doesn't really save that much. A couple of seconds at most. And a lot of the remainder of the level might not seem like it has a lot to it. Oh wow, that egg shot ended up being somehow really skillful without even meaning to. I'll take this to be safe, but I don't think I'll need it. But yeah, by just bouncing along here, you can just not have any need to wait for these bullet bills. And you run up this one, and then bounce all the way up to the boss level. Now this is a giant chicken. You only fight this one once, and it's probably one of the more interesting ones as well. So it's a shame. You have to unravel this chicken's clothes, and then hit the baby chicken that's inside. I'm not going to question it at this point. Oh, I wasn't paying attention there. Well, he's a chicken after all. Chickens are usually too scared. There we go, there's all three. And there we go. That's the boss down. That's World 3 done. Well, it is disappointing because that's probably the best boss in the run. Is that bird boss. There are some cool bosses coming up, and unfortunately I have to apologise that World 4 is not that good of a world. The first part of it has a lot of auto-scrolling. It's like they took all the auto-scroller levels that they made for this game and put them all in this world. Not in this level, but in 4.2, 4.3 and a couple of others. There's pretty much exclusively auto-scrollers in this world. Although this bit has these annoying vines that you automatically hang on and there's nothing you can do. You can't even run past them, they'll automatically just... There we go. That was the idea the first time, but oh well. See, I was hoping to just avoid that, but he just grabbed onto it himself. And there's not a lot you can do to avoid that. World 4's got the same amount of levels as any other world. It's got 8 levels and 1 bonus level, but we won't be seeing that bonus level in the run. However, not all of these levels are auto-scrollers, but at least 3 to 4 of the levels have auto-scroller segments to them, if not auto-scrollers. Which is a decent majority of them. I wish that Yoshi wouldn't grab onto these automatically, but you know. There we go. That level's not too bad. It's the levels following it that it decreases a bit, but don't worry. It does still keep decently interesting. It gets more interesting after that, so I wouldn't worry too much. The key tooth peekaboo. Auto scrolling for the first segment of it, so I'll probably use this. What is this side scrolling crap? Yeah, the Miiverse posts know what they're doing. But yeah, I'll probably use this opportunity to plug some of the upcoming games that we've got on this marathon. We have at about 7 o'clock Eastern time, or about midnight in the UK. We have Java or Javoxip doing some Super Mario Galaxy. And tomorrow we have some Paper Mario. We have the donation incentive choice between Dr. Robotnik's Main Beam Machine and Kirby's Avalanche for the race. Not race. What am I saying? To choose between for that. For what he'll be playing. It is the same as the challenge that he'll be doing at SGDQ between those games. So currently it stands at $10 a piece for both, so it's pretty even at the moment as things stand. So any money that you donate to that will make a difference. You can also choose between the red and the blue tunic in Link's Awakening DX 100%. And there is gonna be a couple of bonus games. Currently we have met the first goal of Splatoon. There are 2 other goals to see Luigi's Mansion 100% and No Cape No Star World Super Mario World, which we will have a No Star World Super Mario World run during this marathon anyhow, but to see No Cape No Star World you will have to raise $400, while to see 100% Luigi's Mansion you will have to raise $250. So get donating if you want to see those. That's cumulative between everyone. There's not one person has to donate that, don't worry. So there's a couple of interesting games coming up. There's some interesting incentives. And of course, the reason we have these incentives is we're raising money for Doctors Without Borders, which is a very good charity, which we all recommend that you donate to. It's for a good cause. All the money goes directly to them. I will put the chat command for the link to the donation channel in a second. I have to get through this section. All are very much worth donating for. Oh, thank you for that. Right. Right. Unfortunately, this level's got another auto-scroller in it. With nothing you can do to speed it up. The first section isn't at least. But after you get past this part, you are stuck doing an auto-scroller that is about a minute and a bit long, with no way to speed it up. It's unfortunate that this part of this part of the run is probably the weakest part, but it does get more interesting after this, don't worry. We get a new transformation here. You get to see Yoshi as a mermaid, which is something. You can press the 1 button to do this little boost, which speeds you up, so I'll be doing this throughout the section. Skipping a clock there, so I can come through here and collect this one instead. No need to collect them all. Oh dear. That wasn't supposed to happen though. So I'll take that, and this is an auto-scroller with not much we can do to speed it up. Unfortunately, it's a really dull one at that as well. It's not even like it's an interesting auto-scroller. Which is what you could argue 4.5 is, because yes, 4.5 is another auto-scroller. But I think when people watch it, they will appreciate it more. Oh dear. I've got to duck under that. Yeah, dear anime, that is essentially what this is. It's just not a good section of the game, unfortunately. But it's not too bad after this. There is another auto-scroller, but it's not too bad, that auto-scroller. It's just these first few levels which are really a bit draining. They try and make it like somewhat of a challenge near the end by putting you onto one little float. It's still nothing though. But as we do that, we go into the mid boss of World 4. Which is quite interesting. Ooh, we've got a freebie. Unfortunately, oh yes, actually. I'll activate the Poochie badge early. This badge is pretty useful because while you don't want Poochie really for the most part, he's useful in this with the Poochie badge because he will actually you'll actually be able to skip a good chunk of this level by using him. I was trying to take that Poochie. But yeah, it's not much, it's only 500 gems, but it's something. That I save on by activating this Poochie badge now. It is ever so slightly quicker to do this level with 2 players, but not enough in my opinion to justify using a second controller on this level. Damn, that shot was perfect. So we want to bring this down so the water level decreases to this point. Once it's down here, we'll bring the water up, activate the platform, and then enter the door to get to the next section. You'll notice Poochie here, the intended way is that inside that little thing there is where Poochie is supposed to be. But of course he's not here. By doing this, and then You can clip him into that gate there if you've already activated him. If you didn't get a freebie, you would just activate him there. And he can just come along here and collect the key for you now, early. Which is quite nice. It's a nice little skip that was found there to allow you to use Poochie, and using him takes away the puzzle pretty much, because the whole point is you're supposed to raise and lower that water level constantly to get it to the right place so that it's raised in a way that will bring Poochie to there. But of course doing it this way means you can bring Poochie there yourself without even having to rescue him. So you only have to change the water level once, which saves quite a bit of time, as you may guess. Ah man, Poochie gets in the way here though. That's the only problem. Unfortunately, Poochie can't come into these, so you can see him waving goodbye to us as we go into the boss level. Now this one you'll recognise, but the way you do it here is you don't take his head off. The point of this one is you're supposed to let him come along here, and then he'll hit himself on the spikes, and you use that when he's stunned after being hit by the spikes to hit him. Of course, there's still a lot more to this one than the original time we played him. Right, there's the second hit. You notice me try and continue to be under him after he's done his ground pound. That's because then he'll do the ground pound in the same place, and since the bridge isn't there, he will then automatically go onto the spikes, and it saves him having to do a third hit. It's much easier on the second and the third cycle than the first one. So like here, he'll automatically go up like this, and then wherever you stay for a long time, he'll get himself in position. So that one's really easy to set up. And Poochie comes back to congratulate us. I'll just stand there like an idiot. Now that was the speed badge that we just collected there. The speed badge just increases your base speed, and it was the first badge we considered would be useful in the run, so we used it quite a bit originally. We use it a lot less now, but we still do use it in places. It's quite decent. But this level's another auto-scroller, but it's a lot more interesting, as you'll soon see. And plus it's a really easy level to collect gems in, which again we need for badges. So you'll notice me slide along these curtains, try to move so I collect all these gems. I don't want to collect flowers, because flowers actually, it's really easy. If you're going to get a bonus game on any level in the run, it's going to be on this one. Which I've just done there, so I'm going to have to be really careful. I can never really complain about the old scroller because there's a lot more to do in it, and of course it looks cool to be sliding along the curtain, and it's much more interesting to even watch as well as play. There's not much I can complain about with this level, but it's just a complete auto scroller and there's not a lot. You can't speed it up. Right, this sends us to the final thing. I've got to be careful here not to get the bonus game though. You notice I waited there because I knew if I just went at full speed I would get the bonus game. Because that's where it's timed. If you get the first flower and you go with that at full speed, you will get the bonus game every single time. I actually think it was worth putting Miiverse on for this run, even if it was an accident. Now this uses 2-player badge, this uses a pip badge again. Unfortunately, again, not a freebie. Because here the whole point is that these platforms are made behind these curtains, and there's nothing when the curtains aren't there. So that means you can easily hit the death trigger, which means you can bounce, and you can bounce really high, and skip all of this level that you're supposed to. And I accidentally did that a bit wrong, so I wasted a couple of seconds. I'm just bouncing along the section here, because this first section you don't actually want to be at. The only things you need are in the second section of it. Now this area lags whether you've got gamepad on or not, and none of us seem to know why. You can see how slow the movement is in here, and there's so many dropped inputs. Or as soon as you leave it, it's fine. It's really weird, and none of us particularly know why it happens. Oh dear. But yeah, like this level actually used to have a really long technical extended hover, but now we just bounce along since we discovered the use of badges for this section. And that's the end. Right. Okay, 4-7's next. This it's the only real level which uses, only real level in the main game which uses the moving platforms. And even then they're not really used that well. And for the most part you can pretty much ignore that they're there and just use them as footholds almost. Get higher. Oh dear, I accidentally went back through. Right, okay, here we go. Like again, you'll see them more here, but we literally just use this foothold. If you do this one right, then you can just hover onto there. I'll take this checkpoint to be safe. Although again, I probably won't need it. I've been taking a lot more checkpoints than I usually would. I usually try and skip a lot more. But I'm just trying to be a bit safer since it's a marathon run. Just gotta rise to the top here. There's not much to it. Oh dear, I wasn't supposed to jump there. And again, using a more footholds in the moving platforms, which is a shame. But that's the end of the level. Now, this boss in 4.8 you'll recognise if you've played Yoshi's Island. It's the Piranha boss. But you'll also remember if you've seen any speedruns of that game, or just know about the little hidden secret, that by hitting him... Oh, actually, I was meant to get a watermelon here. By hitting him, before you actually go into the main boss, you'd automatically defeat him, so you wouldn't have to do the boss like normal. However... here you can do that, but it's a little bit different, and you'll find out soon why that is. I'm not getting any free badges in the levels I want them though. This is really bad marathon luck. Right, that wasn't ideal. I would have been better have an egg there, but it's okay. This section in this level is one of the most annoying sections in the entire game because there's no way to speed up these cycles. No way can you hit them correctly. I've even tried taking intentional damage and it doesn't give you the right cycles at any point, and it can cause this bit to be really annoying and very easy therefore to get hit. Right, I'll take this watermelon for this climbing section, because it makes a lot more use of it here than in any other part of the level, apart from the reason we got it, the boss fight, which all will be revealed. I'll take that. The point of this is the puzzle with all these different coloured pipes, which you're supposed to work out which way you need to go. But of course, if you already played the game, you know which way to go, so it negates the point of the puzzle. You go all the way, you go down, up, and then up and down. And voila. Right, okay, I'm not going in this with eggs, so I can't do it. But you can hit him before the boss. But just because you hit him, what'll happen is you can skip the cutscene a second quicker. So you actually do save a little bit of time by hitting him, but it's not much. This is the reason you get the watermelon. You can speed up all these cycles by defeating him quicker. You can get rid of these bits. And then he gets angry. Or before, you'd have to use the bombs, wait for those cycles to go, and then just throw them in the mouth. It's actually quicker to use the bomb on this one, but oh well. It's only the first and the third hit where it's actually quicker. Right, there we go. And then this is world 4 done. Now the game really begins to pick up and there's a lot more two-player strats in World 5 and 6. You'll start to see the reason why I was building up using 2 controls at the start. When you see what's coming. I'm getting no freebies in the levels I want. Slightly annoying. Because the 2 pit badges, I've used a pit badge so far and the watermelon badge so far. And all of them are on required levels, and the only freebie which I've required getting is the Poochie one. And that only saved me 500 gems, so it's basically nothing. So I'm not doing too well for gems, and I'm not doing very well for RNG. Unfortunately. Oh dear. Okay, we're through. That's good. That bit's not that nice, to be honest. To get through the ice and not get hit by anything. It's actually one of the parts that a lot of runners have difficulty with. Alright, see you in a bit, dear anime. Right, the next level is 5-2. Now, the whole point of this is using these ice melons that you can see going around to do things. However, for this part where you're supposed to use an ice melon on them, you can just damage boost through them. And you get straight through to the other end, and then you're already here. Not the way it intends you to, but oh well. Right, okay. This last bit, the reason I'm carrying this ice melon all the way through is because when you get to the end of this section, you've got another one of those blogs, as they're called, here, and you want to freeze them the way you were supposed to on the first one, and then you just climb it and you're already at the end. And here we are. Now this level, again, I've not got a freebie, so I've got to use a pit badge and pay for it. If I don't get another freebie, I may not be able to use all the badges that I need to, never mind all the others. This level was the first one that really broke apart the pit badge, and it came from the Hunter Hacks video explaining skip of the first section's hover. That were involved with quite precise hover, and then when we worked out from 5-6 what you could do with the pit badge, we then tested on here and try to follow some of the basis of the skip. And made it quicker, and it allows you to do skips on these two sections as well. So you don't actually, what you're supposed to do on this level is ride these carpets through the level. That's the intended way. Similar to the carpets they're riding, and you use to go forwards and backwards, and you've got to jump on it to go up, but not stay on too long, and then stay on it to go down. It's really weird how it works. That was a bad section. And that's the end of the level. Doing nothing in the way you're supposed to. Pit badge is pretty silly, I'll be honest. Right. This boss is awkward. You can use 2-player, but it's quicker to get 6 eggs for it. Oh dear. I'll just get 6 eggs now, actually. I have the intentions to get the eggs later on, but... There we go. There are strats that you can use with 2 players on this level as well, but these ones are too risky for a marathon. The 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, 8 ones aren't, but this level specifically, it's too risky to use on here. But see, do you want to know how, you might be able to tell how much freebie RNG is actually necessary for this run. But if I'd got one of the pit badges I've had to use so far this run for free, I would have over 10,000 gems now. And as you can see, I'm only just over 3.5. It puts me a lot lower. Oh no, I'm thinking of the 5-8 boss when I'm saying I need eggs. But yeah, you can actually do things on this section here to throw the second player around a lot to speed this area up, but it's really, really technical and not really worth risking in a marathon. They were the most recent 2-player strats found as well, so they've not had too much practice on them either. You've got this guy back again for it, and it's just making sure you don't. It's actually, I'd argue, easier than all of his other fights. Maybe the World 1 one was easier, but you know. And I messed that up. I tried to ground pound too early. Right. I'm just being careful not to take damage since I am on my last health. Right. 5-5. There's not a lot to this level. It's the last 3 levels of this world where the things get really interesting and there's a lot to say, but for this level it's pretty obvious from what you see. What you see is what you get. You've got all this snowfall which you can run across. I don't know why there's monkeys in the snow, but you know, why not? Oh wait, I'm getting mixed up here. There's a section later on where you have to drop them for some reason. I was thinking that was it. I've been awake too long at this point. There we go. This level does have some really nice music though, so I'll give it that. Right, now we get to 5-6, and unfortunately getting a free badge here is not too useful. And why am I doing it solo? And it's actually quicker to quit out and go to co-op. I need co-op for this level. I use co-op on the final 3 levels of this world. It is a really confusing level if you're doing it casually, but you do a lot of skips with 2 players on this. That pretty much none of the original level remains. But that was stupid of me. Right, co-op starts. Oh, I don't get the freebie anymore, so I just wasted like 1,000 gems. I'm not very clever. But yeah, there's a lot of skips you do in this. So first you're going to take him and swallow him. You're going to hover along here. Then come here. And fire him up. And come through here, this door. You're at this section already, which you're not supposed to be. I should have swallowed him, but I didn't, so I'm just going to send him like that. Now, if I release him, like so, I can actually send this Yoshi through there. And then go through this so. And then we're already at this section, which is getting near the end of the level. None of these skips are possible because you need a second Yoshi to be what you fire up there in single player. But by using 2 controllers it's possible. So you hover up here and then you're at this point. You can fire him onto that trampoline if you get it right, but I didn't. And as you can see, you're already at the end. There's a lot more to that level. You have to do some... You'd have to do an egg boost hover. You would have to do a couple of puzzles. It's about extra... It's about 1.5 to 2 minutes using 2 players on that level saves. Well, maybe not that much, but it saves a good minute at least. Minute and a half. It's a really big level for saving time on. Now we'll be using 2 players on this next level, which I can't do the strat because I don't have the... Wow! Okay, so I'm gonna... This is gonna be a slower level than usual and I can't use 2 players. Because the whole point of this section was to game sound's working fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that you're supposed to have the pit badge here and the second player and you can do some pretty large skips having the 2 players, but now you can't do them because I don't have the money for a pit badge. So it's just as easy going single player on this. This is what free badge RNG does to you. I got no free badge RNG in this entire run, or no good free badge RNG. So it left me like this. Have you not been having the audio muted? Because I'm checking OBS, which is what we're streaming through, and there is audio coming from OBS to the stream. There's audio coming from the game to the stream, so are you sure you've not just got the stream muted? I can check things for you, but I am 100% sure everything's all working. Now it's quicker here to just take some damage there and then jump like that. So see, I thought so. There's been sound the entire time. It's not the loudest, I admit, but that's because the game sound in general in this game is not loud. You might want to turn up your headphones if that's the case. But it's slightly annoying that I wasn't able to show off the 2-player strats and the pit badge on this level, but I simply did not have the gems for it because I have had no good free badge RNG because marathon luck. Even if you took out the badge that I used in the last level by accident, I still wouldn't have had enough, so... please. I don't think I can turn the game feed up at all, that's all.